Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Today I want to present my article. The title is Analysis of Factor Causing Number Learning Difficulties for Grade 1 Students. In this article, there are 4 sections, which is Introduction, Methods, Finding and Discussion, and the last part is Conclusion. Let's begin from the first section, which is Introduction. There is an ideal condition. Basic education aims to provide students with basic skill to develop their lives. Mathematics is an important science because it has a function as a basic for studying other disciplines. Basic math education concepts need to be learned by students as a foundation for future education. By learning basic mathematics, students are also expected to have an understanding of concepts, calculation operation, logical thinking, and systematic. Almost all aspects of mathematics use the concept of the number. In order to understand mathematical concept, students must first master the concept of number in order to meet the expected learning outcomes. But the real condition, in an effort to meet the expected mathematics learning outcomes, there are several problems that arise so that learning outcomes have not been achieved optimally. This can be seen in the result of Indonesian 2022 PISA score, which is ranked 68 out of 81 countries. Indonesia's PISA math score showed that 18% of Indonesia students obtain math proficiency of at least level 2. Level 2 can interpret and recognize without direct instruction, while the other 82% information is not available. It can be understood that the remaining 82% have lower proficiency. Almost no Indonesian student obtain level 5 or 6. Based on the interview with first grade teachers at SD Negeri 2 Mangliawan, it is known that students' math skills are still low. As many as 40% of students have math score below the KKTP. It was stated that students experience learning difficulties because at the beginning of learning number, 50% of students in the class still did not understand the concept of number because they did not have chalistung skills. When students are in the grade 1, students depart with different chalistung abilities. In kindergarten, students are not required to have literacy skill. Meanwhile, when entering grade 1, learning number become the first math chapter learned in class. This study focused on grade 1 elementary school students who have just experienced the transition from kindergarten to elementary school. These problems make researchers interested in knowing the difficulties of learning number and the factor that cause them in grade 1 student of SD Negeri 2 Mangliawan. Methods. This research is a descriptive research with a qualitative approach. The purpose of the research is to find out the difficulties of learning number of grade 1 elementary school students and the factor that influences them. The research subject were first grade students of SD Negeri 2 Mangliawan with a total of 21 students consisting of 10 boys and 11 girls. Students who become subject were 10 students who had difficulty learning math number chapter. The first grade teacher of SD Negeri 2 Mangliawan also became the research subject. Data collection techniques used in this study were observation sheets, interviews, and documentation. The instruments used were observation sheets and interviews. The use of both is to obtain information related to learning difficulties in number chapter and the factors that cause them. Documentation in the study is in the form of documents of mathematics learning outcomes on number chapter at the middle test assessment of grade 1 SD Negeri 2 Mangliawan. The data analysis technique used is data reduction. Data reduction is summarizing, setting aside important things taught observation, interview, and documentation regarding the learning difficulties in number and their causal factors. After that, data presentation was carried out as a follow-up to the data reduction stage. The data that has been reduced is then presented in narrative form and then conclusions are made as a whole so that the results are found as the research object. Findings and discussion. In this part, researchers find that the learning difficulties of first grade at SD Negeri 2 Mangliawan is difficulty understanding symbols and difficulty understanding the concept. The factor causing number learning difficulties is divided into two factors, which is internal factor and external factor. The internal factors is divided into low basic ability, student psychology, physical condition, and learning motivation. And the external factors is divided into learning strategies, learning media, lack of home environment support, and excessive use of digital device. Conclusion. Based on the result of data analysis and discussion, it can be concluded that the difficulties of learning number of grade 1 students are difficulties in understanding symbol and difficulties in understanding concept. Factor causing difficulties in learning number in grade 1 SD Negeri 2 Mangliawan are divided into two factors, namely internal and external factor. Internal factors include low basic abilities, student physiology, and student physical condition, while external factors include learning strategies used in the classroom, that use of learning media, lack of home environment support, and excessive use of digital device. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for the attention and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.